Welcome back, Panther fans. This is part 2 of this week's episode where we are going to be talking to the Black and Gold podcast about the game coming up this week. Welcome, AJ, Big C. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being here tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having us, man.
Absolutely. So we're actually recording this on Monday and broadcasting it out on Tuesday. So if there's any developments like Georgia Southern firing another head coach between now and then, we will not have that kind of information to talk about. But yeah, so
not to prove that we're disorganized or anything, but aren't you going to publish this on Wednesday?
It's gonna live broadcast on Tuesday around the world, because that's where our fan base is. I get all those Russian, I get all those Russian hits. I'm sure those are legit. And but yeah, it'll be on the podcast that comes, the audio podcast that comes out on Wednesday morning. Yeah. All right, let's get into it, guys. As I was saying before we got started, I am zero prepared for this episode. I know that you guys are App State. I know that you're in Boone, North Carolina. I have talked to you guys last year. We talked to you guys last year.
Well, wait, we're playing App State this week?
I have skied Nighthawk and Sugar Mountain, so I've been there. I'm just gonna keep on going all night long. Like I said, also I've been drinking since about 7 tonight. It's
I was trying to make a Coach Elliott joke, but you won't even let me do it.
No, well, I'm sure it was not funny to begin with. All right, guys. This is gonna be a disaster. Tim is gonna be so happy that he's not here right now. All right, welcome to the show, guys. What do you guys think about this game coming up, man? What are you looking for?
First of all, I want to say welcome to the world of getting screwed by a P5 referee crew.
Appreciate you.
Welcome. We have felt that a few times. Absolutely got robbed. I felt a little bit of pain for you seeing that catch that wasn't a catch, but was ruled a catch. How convenient. So my condolences to that.
Too soon, man. Too soon. I'm saying
it sucked. You know?
And when I say I'm not prepared, it's because I take losses very, very personally, and I could not even look at even the message boards or anything or reading articles until this morning, and I forced myself to look into it today. But yeah, thanks for saying that. It was Ryan and I were both there at the game. It was a rough one. It was a rough one.
The Auburn fans around me who had been complaining about some bad calls that were maybe not great calls, but probably good non-call type things. And even they were just like, what the hell am I watching? What that was not a catch.
Yeah. It was pretty funny. We had our little sliver of a section. You probably could have fit all of Center Park Stadium into that one section of fans right there. We were all there together. And so I don't know if our angle was just better, but we all kind of saw that it was a non-catch. So when they go to review, we're cheering. We're like, yeah, we know this is going to get overturned. And they do the first video replay, and Auburn fans are cheering. They do the second video replay, Auburn fans are cheering. They do the third video replay, Auburn fans are cheering. They do fourth video replay, and that stadium goes silent. They see that ball hit the ground, and they're like, ooh. Yeah,
so we all thought it wasn't a catch, but I was like, man, that was a good catch, because I thought it was an amazing catch at first, and then I saw the replay. I was like, oh, it wasn't.
Well, I was standing right next to the infamous Ben Moore, and he called it. He called it immediately that it was a non-catch. But then again, I'm sure Ben pretty much calls every completion a non-catch. So
that's right. He's a homer.
Oh man.
I'll be honest here. I saw that play for the first time today. Watching it, ESPN Plus, whatever rebroadcast, and only got 2 angles in. Obviously, the one in the back from the end zone looked obviously really bad, and the front angle, I guess, from the opposite end zone, it was kind of tough. But man, hard to believe that was called or whatever it was, confirmed a catch or whatever.
They called it a catch on the field, and then they just confirmed a catch, and the replay or couldn't overturn it. But Ryan and I kind of differ on this kind of perspective about games, but we talked about it while we were right there in the stadium there. And I say you're playing 2 games. You're playing the opposing team, and you're playing the officiating, and you can't let just one single play determining the game. And we don't know if that was going to change the game, because they would have gone from 2nd and 10 on the 30 to 1st and 10 on the 10. So 1st and goal on the 10. So who knows what's going to happen, but sure is harder to score from the 30 than it is from the 10.
Yes.
So
that wasn't a 4th down play or anything like that. I guess
no, it was a first down play.
Yeah.
It was a first down play.
That's tough.
And then we even had opportunities there, because we did force them down to a 4th down on the goal score. And we had their backup quarterback, and I'm going to say backup quarterback because we did because Bo Nix did leave the game. We had their backup quarterback scrambling, and he just made an incredible connection. So screw Auburn.
Yes, screw Auburn.
All right.
So App played Auburn back in 1999, and we lost by 7 on a game that didn't have any bad calls down on the Plains. But we had a coaching decision that was tough, but we lost that one in the final minute, 22-15. That was my freshman year of school, and so I definitely feel your Auburn pain 22 years later.
Yeah, it's going to be the difference is going to be why I don't know the difference. I'm talking. I'm just using words now. No, I think what's going to happen is
we do that.
We're stupid. I'm stupid. I'm really stupid. Coming out of this game, my big question is going to be how this team responds, because you guys know Coach Elliott. You know, he's been there. He's from the App State. Lineage. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So he knows you guys know him, and he's an emotional guy. And I don't know if you guys watch his presser afterwards or you saw anything since then, but he, the thing I like about Coach Elliott, and I like many things, but the thing I'm going to talk about is it could be a lot of coach speak, but he tends to be, this is supposed to be an interview where I'm asking you guys questions. I'm just talking right now.
So much.
We'll go. He seemed more upset for the players missing that win than he was about himself, his record, his status as a head coach, and everything. Yeah. So maybe you guys, just Alex, you guys tell me about what are your all's thoughts of Coach Elliott?
Well, I think Charles and I would say the same thing. I'm a huge Sean Elliott fan. I know for 100% fact that the dudes that are on staff with us that are App State guys, Coach Cardwell, Coach Clark, they all get along. I mean, these guys all get along. I think that once you're in the trenches with somebody, pardon the pun, but, Coach Elliott, coached offensive line, but he was actually defensive lineman in college. And so he went across from Sean Clark in practice every day, and so these guys fought each other through the 90s in those really good App State teams. It's just kind of a bond that you can't break. And I'm sure these guys will cuss each other on Saturday, and I'm sure they cuss each other on the recruiting trail if they're going after the same guy. I know that, often, we recruit the same players and whatever in the state of Georgia, which is a hotbed for us. But, man, I mean, I have just tons of respect. It was back in – Charles will remember this. Back in 2012 – I think it's 2012 – Sean Elliott came to a playoff game. Charles, I think it was a playoff game. He's in the stands. It's in December. And there's speculation that he was back there, or maybe 2011. I don't remember, to kind of hunt for, a job, or not hunt for a job, but was he there to interview for, being the predecessor to Jerry Moore? And everybody loved that idea. I loved it. And it's like, oh, Sean Elliott's coming back. He's going to be a head coach. We just knew that he was so successful at South Carolina as an offensive line coach. He was ranked so highly, that he was going to be the guy. And he wasn't. And the rest is history where, Scott Satterfield had insane success. And, Coach Satterfield is where he is now. I would bet that Coach Elliott would like that back. I think he would have liked to have pursued that maybe a little more. Not saying he would have definitely got it, because Charlie Cobb ended up hiring Sat, who was the cheapest option at the time, if we're being frank. But no, I have tons of respect for Coach Elliott. I hope he loses on Saturday, but I'll always be a Coach Elliott fan.
Well, hopes and dreams,
Yeah, I don't really have much more to add from what AJ said. I mean, we obviously in the App family, we always keep track of our own, and we want them to be successful. Obviously, not every weekend in this case, but we don't want him to fail at Georgia State at all. But if he'll land on his feet somewhere, we just if something bad were to happen, if something like what happened down south happens, but we're going to root for him all the time. Whether he's at Georgia State or Tennessee State or anywhere in between, and we hope he does well. Just only except for one Saturday a year.
One Saturday every season. Yeah, Ryan, you and I, one of the benefits of being fans of Georgia State is we have kind of unprecedented access to the coaches and the administration and whatnot. So you and I have had many a beer with Coach Elliott, and so we get to know him on an on-camera, unmiked atmosphere. Yeah, he's a legit solid dude, and I have
stories, man. He's got some good stories. I can't tell any of them here, but they're good. I promise.
Yeah, ask him about Myrtle Beach. Ask him what he thinks about Myrtle Beach. That's Ryan's go-to Coach Elliott story. Ask him what he thinks about Myrtle Beach. But yeah, we I think in general there's always going to be a fan here and there who are not happy with what things are going on. But I think in general that the Georgia State fan base is really excited about Coach Elliott. He's obviously there's no question he's the best coach we've had. We've only had 3. Yeah. But he's by far our best coach. You take the 2018 year out, and that's an anomaly of a 2-10 season. You take that out, and he's by far our most successful coach we've had. But But let's get into Saturday. First of all, big question: are either of you guys coming down to the game?
Not to be sad or anything here. I had a hotel room booked, and everything, but we're not. I had a great aunt pass away this morning, and her funeral is going to be on Saturday. She's been sick for a long time, so it is sad, but it was not unexpected. It's one of those. I think we all have extended family funerals that we feel that we can skip from time to time. But this one is one that you can't skip. So I will actually be trying my hardest to avoid any and all information of what's happening at the game while I'm at the funeral, so that we can watch it with a blank slate afterwards. So, I'm bummed twice.
Man, I'm gonna feel so bad when I'm talking crap about you guys the entire time now.
You don't need to worry. I would do the same to you, David. That's the relationship that we have. So don't worry about it.
Our condolences, absolutely. Sorry about that. You. Again, back to the illustrious Ben Moore. He has a slogan: "Family first, always," and I agree with that. So be with the family, absolutely.
Yeah.
With her. So Charles, come on, that means you got to represent. You got to represent the black and gold down here.
I unfortunately got to give you bad news or good news, however you want to look at it. I will not be in Atlanta this weekend. I have a very important baby shower to attend.
What?
We're taking some steps down. We're taking, unless it's your baby shower, we're taking some steps down.
No, there will be no more me having baby showers. I will be attending baby showers. As long as
I think our tailgate is supposed to be pretty good. We got pizzas making a comeback. We got family that makes homemade pizzas.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, if you're ordering out, that's not a tailgate.
No, homemade pizzas. They bring out it's a whole pizza oven thing, and they make the dough the night before. They bring it all out, and
that's cool.
They do it up, man. It's real good.
Sweet.
All right, so I don't want to hear any beef about Georgia State fan attendance when we can't even get the 2 biggest App State fans down into Atlanta for a game. All right, if you guys can't come,
we've had AJ's got a good reason. I guess mine is less obvious, but we've had 3 games in September to attend. So we've had a Charlotte game, and we just came off of a Saturday Thursday situation. So it's one of those where it's like it's too they're all too close to each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Every week, I know.
Yeah. Well, especially when you go 2 in 5 days. But this is one I was like, I'm going to hold off. There'll be another one down the road.
I was excited. We were going to go to the Georgia Aquarium that morning. My son really wanted to go see a whale shark, and it all came crashing down. But I really enjoyed. I went to the game in 2017, and I had a blast. I loved it. Yeah, it was great.
17. Were we in? Were we in Center Park yet, or were we still back in the Dome back then?
No, you were in. It was in Turner. I call it Turner Field, but I guess it's
Yeah,
Center Park
yeah.
now.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a great time.
We call it we call it the park with a C.
No one calls it that.
I'm trying to get that started. You guys go ahead and push that out as well. We're going to call it the park.
Head to the park. Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we should talk about the game, right?
Right.
So tell us how we can beat App State. What do we got to do?
That coach listens, so give him everything.
Oh wow, does he? Okay.
He does.
Studying plenty of film.
He does not listen whatsoever at all.
Cobb listens apparently.
Cobb listens
I know
because
Charlie Cobb listens.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah,
he told us, but David doesn't remember because he was too drunk.
I'm sure when Charlie finds out that I'm on, he'll definitely be listening and tuning in.
We'll make sure to tag you in it. Yeah. No. So I mean, App State's looked great this season so far. Obviously, I'm sure you guys are really hating that Miami loss, but in all three of all four of your games, you've looked fantastic this season. The big question going into the season was whether or not the quarterback from Duke, Clemson, was going to be able to be the real deal, and it seems like he is. Talk about your offense.
Yeah. Go ahead,
AJ. Go ahead, Charles.
Okay, AJ. If I remember correctly from last season, AJ, you give me all the color commentary, and then Charles, you'll come in here and give me all the stats and numbers and all the X's and O's and everything. Right? Is that right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. No, I was saying this evening actually, talking about Chase Bryce, how it's a little annoying to me how so many App fans have seen Clemson, 4-star, Trevor Lawrence backup. And I think a lot of App fans have kind of come to the acceptance that Duke's just terrible, and you can't do well if your receivers are dropping passes and your offensive line can't block. So I think they've gotten past that, but I think they're expecting, because of this, well, you're a 4-star recruit, you're this, you're that he's supposed to take over games. And in our offense and really our program, we don't have to have a quarterback to take over a game in order for us to win. Zach Thomas, obviously very athletic. He's one of those guys try to make his first read, and if it's not there, he'll run. He's really athletic. Chase isn't that. But our offense doesn't require an elite performance from a quarterback every single week for us to win. They just need to do their job. And Charles does a better job talking about this than I do, but we don't like the term game manager because that sounds like what people try to say to a quarterback that's not really good but doesn't turn the ball over. But
Andrew Dalton.
Yeah. But he, what's he done? He's done what has been required. He's made some throws that I don't think any quarterback we've had any time recently could make. He's not as fast as Zach Thomas was, but I think he's really good. I think he's doing a really good job, and I just feel like there's a large contingent. Hopefully that contingent is shrinking of people that if he doesn't throw a touchdown pass every single play, they go, well, what's up with this Chase Bryce guy? But I think it's getting better, but we were confident, and we heard guys like Thomas Hennigan and these other players in camp say, Chase is really good. We feel really confident about him, and we offered him a scholarship for a reason. So I think he's doing really well, and I don't expect that to really change.
I'm so glad you actually said his name is Chase Bryce, because before I said anything, I almost said Bryce Harper. And I was like, and I knew it was wrong. I knew Bryce Harper was wrong, but I was like, that's just the first thing that comes to my head.
It's not Bryce Harper.
Yeah. No, he's not Bryce Harper. Yeah, but Bryce Harper is also a total tool bag. So yeah.
Also, what are you saying? What are you trying to say?
Oh, I know nothing about Chase Bryce. I'm sure he's probably a manicure bag or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. All right, Charles. All right, break it down for us. The X's and O's. What's App State going to do that's going to tear apart Georgia State's defense and just explode this game for you guys?
Well, building off of Chase and that situation right there. I watched a lot of the Charlotte game that y'all had today. That game looked boring to me, and I'm not saying it looked boring on y'all's end, and it looked boring on Charlotte's end. I just felt like that was a tough one to stay away for. But anyway, I mean, Chase has not had a play yet this year, in my opinion, that have been like, man, you messed up. Like, that's all on you. That is your fault. You threw the pick. No, that hasn't happened yet. And as long as he keeps doing that, then I'm not going to have any issues. I don't think anybody else will. But there's certainly some faction of our fan base that's going to have a hard time accepting someone who wasn't like a homegrown kind of a guy, you know?
Yeah.
And that's okay. They'll get over it. We are exactly where we expected to be right now, 3-1. Yeah, we can want some more icing on the cake by beating the Miami and being 4-0, but that's exactly the effort that I was expecting that night. We took care of ECU. That's a huge game for us, obviously, instead of North Carolina. We were a little sluggish against Elon, but we had Corey Sutton was trying to make a play and score and fumbled right out of bounds, and it was a touchback, I think it was, right, AJ? I don't think Elon recovered it. But that just kind of flattened us in that first half against Elon. So that first half didn't look great, but we finished them off like we should have. I mean, still a 44-10 win. But that wasn't Chase Bryce's fault. Really, our thing right now is that we have two excellent running backs right now that can do damage and take over games if needed. We know Cam Peoples can take over a game. That's been seen several times over. He has 8 touchdowns this year. Nate Noel can also do it. He just hasn't scored. He's done a lot of the dirty work. He's a completely different back than Cam, and he was the reason why, honestly, in my opinion, we beat Marshall. He iced the game and he got us down there to make the plays when we needed it. Even though when we were down 9 points in the fourth quarter to Marshall, it never felt like we were down 9 points in the fourth quarter. It never felt like that game was out of reach or out of control. Or like, man, we got to really
that's what success feels like. We would love to have that kind of success where we never feel like we're down.
4.5 quarters in Auburn.
We're up 12 against Auburn, and we're kind of like, we're about to get blown out by 80 points right now.
You just kind of knew it was coming, right? It was building.
Look, law of averages says we got to beat y'all eventually. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just win forever.
Well,
I mean, that's the goal.
Somebody's gonna drink too much the night before. The wrong,
that's the trash down south, Ryan.
Right? Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't mean
their linemen drink beer on top of buses before games. So
I think the biggest part about that is you look at the early part of this rivalry and was it Trent Miles? You're obviously trying to get off the ground as a program. Period. Elliott's done a better job, but as long as there's an Elliott in Atlanta and there's a Clark in Boone, those two will not let their teams take this lightly. As much as it's a battle on the field, we're not going to overlook any situation. Clark mentioned his press conference. Every coach says that this is a ring game. If we want to take back the trophy that we feel belongs in Boone, it starts this weekend, and there's no time you can let up any given week, because if you do, someone's going to sneak up and bite you. Monroe can obviously do that. We just saw that this past weekend.
Absolutely. Yep. So, I didn't realize that until today because
they beat Troy now. Yeah, they thumped Troy pretty good at home, and people were talking about Troy, but that's a different story. But
yeah, that was the thing we talked about all offseason because there's nothing else to talk about. It seemed like every rating came out either obviously had you guys in Coastal, first 1A and 1B in the East Division, and then it was kind of like whether or not Georgia State or Troy was that second or third team. And we can all agree that the trash down south was always going to be in beautiful Eagle Creek the entire season long. So yeah. Hey, Ryan, I've not let you give a chance to ask a question. Do you have a question?
I have questions, man. I didn't know I was gonna make it on time.
We didn't know we were doing it at all.
Well, I'm just here to shoot the shit with these fine fellas, that aren't gonna make it to the game.
I mean, let's take a quick deviation because I have a lot of respect for App State for a multitude of reasons, but one of those, probably the top one is you guys hate Southern just as much as anybody in the world can, which is we come from the exact same genre. So what do you guys think about that trash down south dropping Lunsford yesterday, 4 games into the season?
It's something that, the first thing that came to my mind is, who are they going to find that wants to coach down there more than Chad Lunsford? I look at that job as like, you have to be like, the pool of right candidate to come in there and succeed has to be so small. It has to be people that want to be down there and can put up with those screeching banshees that anytime you mention, hey, you know what, maybe we shouldn't like run, the triple option, like they lose their minds. And I mean, who wants that job? And I know that people are going to go out there and say, look at their tradition. Like, okay, like whatever, I get it. But I think Lunsford is probably a good dude. 28, 21. He inherited, the Tyson Summers thing. I think maybe, and Charles has a better read on these things than I do, but I would say they were looking for an excuse to fire him and get rid of him. And I think that that poor bastard on the top of the bus cracking open a Stone Cold Stunner beer, like this is like WWF was enough reason for them to do it. Charles, I don't know if you read it that way, but I think they were probably hunting for something like that anyway.
They were certainly on the war path. The cliche, the straw that broke the camel's back, is definitely what that is. I mean, that any program would probably consider that inexcusable behavior at any moment in time, in the public eye, on the walk-in. And you've got, worst case, this is the worst part about it, you got a senior who's supposed to be a leader, a redshirt senior who's in his 5th year, pulls some stuff like that. And, look, good for that guy. I care less about him. But if we're talking about Lunsford, he had 2 big wins in his career, and they were us, and that's it. There's no other quality win on his resume that says that this guy's the future. They lived off their defense for a while. If it wasn't for Scott Sloan down there, I don't know if he would have lasted this long. I knew it was going to happen this year. I just didn't know when, because they literally just don't have any patience down there. They've done it before. They've done it. They're going to do it again. I mean, this whole, they're going to, all right, this is what's going to happen. It's going to be the same thing with Sumners or Summers. Can't remember what his name is. Doesn't matter. They're going to promote an interim, right? That interim is going to be considered for the job, right? And that interim's like either going to get it because he's a Georgia Southern guy and they're going to go down the same path again and start over. Yet he's a holdover from the previous staff. What does that do? Or does Georgia Southern, with the new AD, decide, hey, look, we've got to actually look like a college team of the modern era. There's no excuse in the state of Georgia to run that type of offense and be handcuffed to that type of situation when there's so many players that you can get. There's so many players that we go down there and get. There's 20 on our
yeah, by the way, we're bitter about that. Thank you.
Sorry about it. It's just a really short drive. I mean, the drop across Atlanta
it's a big problem we have. Our fan base is really bitter about how many. So Coach Elliott being
I'm not bitter.
Ryan is always the exception to the rule. Yet we feel like we have such talent in this state that we don't go get. We end up going to the Carolinas because Coach Elliott is familiar with that area, and then we go to Florida. I think those are our two biggest places we go. Yet we have all this talent right here in this state, and I didn't mean to get on this whole thing, but fuck it. What? No, there we go. I cursed again. We do that. But actually, no. But to your point, like we have one of our Patreon members here. Quote of the night: "Who wants that job?" It's a great question. And here in Georgia, the big guy's name is that Kennesaw State coach, that Bohemian guy, whatever. Bonin. What I don't know what his name is. I didn't pay attention to FCS football when we were in FCS football. I don't pay attention to FCS football now. But yeah, the Kennesaw State guy, he runs that option crap. Do you think that he wants to take that nice 4-bedroom house, 2.5 bath thing in Kennesaw and head down to Statesboro where he lives in a trailer and has to pump his cold water for a shower every night?
All right.
It just depends on what Georgia Southern decides to do. I mean, if they want to be stuck with what they have, then there is no other option. No pun there. Let's go get a guy below
pun intended.
below the level, because you're not going to pull any FBS coordinator with option experience to Statesboro. That's just not going to happen.
No.
So it's all about what they decide to do. If they decide to be modern, they'll get people to go down there because it's a Division I head coaching job. And I don't know if y'all have seen the reports. Like message board fodder is one thing, but there's always a little bit of truth to a little bit of it. They're willing to pay upwards of $1 million for their next coach, while at the same time firing Lunsford without cause and owing him every dime. I don't see Statesboro, who's at Statesboro Community College, that has had issues with funding and fundraising for a very, very long time after they got to FBS, coming up with $3 million to pay 2 coaches. Just like that.
Okay, keep digging, That's my thing. Keep on digging, y'all. It's okay. Yeah. Never come out of that hole.
No, coming out of that hole is dirty water.
That's right.
I do like that Statesboro Community College, and obviously they have those $2 or $3 million to pay for that kind of crap because they have no aspirations of moving out of this conference because they know that they have peaked as a program.
Do you think they know that? I don't think they know that.
I don't think they know it either.
I think that the administration knows that, but that inbred fan base has no clue of it whatsoever at all.
It's funny. If not for, seriously, if not for Willie Fritz front loading his team with a bunch of junior college transfers and coming into, let's be honest, not a great Sun Belt conference in 2014. I don't think Georgia Southern has actually talked about as a successful transition into the FPS nearly as much. I think they whipped us in 2014 on national TV, and it was embarrassing and it was whatever. But Willie Fritz had a mission, and it was to get promoted, and he did it. He loaded up on JUCOs, and he cashed in and got out at the right time. Whereas we talk about this all the time, had a rough 2 games in the Sun Belt and then 1 out in 2014. Really, the rest is history. But I think that first impression in 2014 has given that program a little bit of their reputation's on a bubble. I think they have not been like this. Oh well, they transitioned so well. They've had a couple good seasons.
Off the bubble at this point.
8-5,
7-6. You can talk about who they beat in the Community Bowl. Was it Eastern Michigan? Really? Was that it?
Yeah, I think that
pay more attention to them than we do.
The Sun Belt. I personally dog on the Sun Belt all the time. But whenever the media talks about the Sun Belt and how they've succeeded in the most recent realignment, they talk about App State, they talk about Georgia Southern, and they talk about Coastal because they had one good year. But I don't know. I really don't understand why Southern's included in there. I feel like they're still riding their high of their 6 their minor league.
They have
championships.
They
won that championship in the first year. They've really done nothing since then. And as we talk about all the time, Georgia State has very, very few teams who we have a winning record against. And one of those is Georgia Southern. So if they can't even beat us, how good of a team are they?
And that's the difference. That's why Lunsford is not in his office right now and doesn't have anything to do. It's because those things happen.
Do you think he's riding on a bus getting beer thrown at him?
He's watching Monday Night Raw right now.
I bet you people are leaving beer on his doorstep, honestly.
To be fair, that was a flawless catch and chug.
That was a great job. He did
Kudos to the kid. He did all right. But it was just the wrong thing at the wrong time.
Am I the only person that watched that for the first time and didn't think anything bad?
I had no idea what was happening.
Well, I was like, wow. Kind of like with what Ryan said. I was like, man, he caught that, and it was seamless. It was wow. Yeah. And then obviously time goes on. You're like, that dude's a senior. One pump of the brakes on that bus, this dude goes flying off the top.
Oh, he's done.
He cracks his skull, and I'm like, oh, that's a really bad look.
So I know that I'm a few years older than all you guys on here, but did you guys ever watch the Teen Wolf movie with Michael J. Fox back in the 80s? Man, that's what's going on. That's what Teen Wolf did. He jumped in the back of the plumbing
Teen Wolf
truck.
was a werewolf, man. He can do it. It was rad because he was able to do that.
Well, you used the word rad, which is very appropriate back in the 80s. So, yeah.
That's me, man. That's my style. I saw it, and I forgot their stupid tradition of their little school buses or whatever. And I was just like, what am I even watching? Like, it took me a while to even figure out it was their football team. And then I was like, oh yeah, that's messed up. They shouldn't have done that. I thought it was just like a kid. Like, I thought it was just like they were on a road trip on a school bus or something. I was like, oh, that's pretty rad. Yeah. And then I realized, oh, that's their team bus, which is pretty embarrassing. Yeah. And then there's a player. Oh God, that's pretty.
I mean, it's really all about the objects. I mean, that guy is a nose tackle, right? I mean, I don't know what was thrown to him, but whatever he chugged in 8 seconds and left some, in the can, I doubt had any effect on his ability to play the game. But it's just like the optics of it. It's like, probably shouldn't do that.
Well, he only had one on camera.
Well, right, and who knows what was in the locker room.
Well, that's a good point, Ryan. Based off that 1-3 record, yes, I acknowledge we're 1-3 as well. But that 1-3 record they have, maybe he's doing a lot. Maybe those guys are drinking a lot more right now than. Maybe that's a turnaround. Statesboro was a dry county for so long, and they have not figured out how to adjust to that. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
We've got on a real long trash down south tangent here.
I actually just threw that in the chat. Maybe a little too much.
I don't think it's fair. I don't think that you can get an App State or a couple of App State guys and a couple of Georgia State guys together and not just hate on Southern for a bit.
This is like what we have in common other than playing
it's
football.
Our kindred spirits. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Yeah. All right.
Had it not just happened like 2 days ago, we wouldn't be talking about it. Like if that happened a week ago, we would talk about the game. But it's just still hot.
I always struggle because there was one of the at Georgia State when I was a business major, and one of the things they talked about in marketing was you never talk about your opponent if they're lower than you. If they're below you, you never talk about them because it lowers you to your level. They always talk about you because it raises them to your level. So I never want to talk about on the podcast the trash down south because I don't want to lower ourselves to their level. Yeah, but I cannot stop talking about that trash. I really hate them so much. It's fun to talk about,
It is fun.
That's what they live for, is being talked about.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, let's get back to it a little bit. All right, so I'm going to toss something out, and you guys tell me what you think. You guys are talking about your running backs, and I think that as much as we've talked about our defense, that's our bread and butter. Our rushing defense is what Fuquay has really done well over the past couple of years. I'm going to say last half of last season through now. What do you think you guys are going to be able to run the ball against us this Saturday?
The reason we're going to be able to is because we've got our receivers who can actually get down the field and stretch it, and you've got to defend Corey Sutton, which I think he just scored another touchdown.
Another one just now. Hey, can we get one of those late Monday touchdowns to beat Auburn right now? Can we do that?
I think that's the big difference between last year and this year. Not that we should be really discussing anything that happened last year in football, because I don't think none of it really counted for some statistical purposes and historical reasons. But I mean, that's great. We're going to run the ball regardless, and we're going to force it, but we're going to be able to pass out of it as well.
Yeah, you could actually see, and I'll tell you why I think we'll do really well on Saturday, because we played our second game of the year. I think that's right. No, our third game of the year against Marshall in 2020. And we went down there, and they really controlled both lines of scrimmage. Their front seven really shut us down. We really couldn't run the ball last year against them. And this year we did. We did real well against Marshall. And, Nate Noel and Cam combined ran for 283 yards. If you had told me last year that we were going to do that after seeing Marshall come off the field, I'd been like, I don't know about that. But we did. We found a lot of success there. And to what Charles just said, you can actually see the defense kind of being sucked in to try to stop the run, and then that's when they'd call for those play actions or those deep passes, and then they'd be forced to step back and play back a little bit. And when you have that mix going, which is what App's bread and butter has been, I mean, what are you going to do? And I remember last year when Georgia State came to Boone, and really your defensive line whipped our offensive line. And Coach Clark said that in the post-game comments. He said they just whipped us. But this year, our offensive line is playing really well, like really, really well. And the fact that we are so healthy at wide receiver right now with Thomas Hennigan, Corey Sutton, and Malik Williams, all who are really, really good. They're super seniors. They should be. They're dropping their kids off at soccer practice as we speak. And, that doesn't help Georgia State stopping the run, especially with our offensive line playing well and two healthy running backs. So I don't think it'll be like last year. Last year, 17-14, close battle. I think we'll be able to move the ball pretty well. Although I do think that this is a game that Georgia State wants. I mean, 0-7 against App State, like we know that builds and that builds, and I don't think anybody on the team is looking at it as a pushover game. I'm not looking at it. I mean, I think we'll win, but I mean, it's football, man. I mean, we've seen crazy things. Charles touched on it. ULM just whipped Troy. I know we're not Troy and ULM's not Georgia State, but it's a conference game. And you want to beat each other.
No, I mean, like I said, I didn't even look at the other conference scores until today. And when I saw that Troy had lost to Monroe, because I've been dogging. I dog all the Louisiana schools, but I've been dogging them the entire time. I was really surprised by that. But I think that and I know crap about football. I just like watching my team win, which doesn't happen a lot. But I really do think this game's going to come down to who can really run the ball. And that seems like a very, very easy statement to say, but I think that we've got a stable of running backs that are fantastic. Tucker Gregg is a phenomenal. Like he busted off 50 yards against Auburn for a touchdown on Saturday. Destin Coates is phenomenal, better than Tucker probably.
As long as he can hang on to it.
If he can hold on to the ball, absolutely. And then, so I think we've got the ability to run the ball. We have the ability to stop the rush. You guys are on the same page. So it's going to come down to us, both of us, forcing each other to throw the ball and see what happens on that side. And I mean, Ryan, back me up unless if I'm wrong or not. But we still have not seen the full force of the Georgia State offense because Sam Pinkney, between COVID and hamstrings, has not seen the field that much. He only had one reception in the Auburn game for 8 yards, and he's getting healthy. And we think that Sam Pinkney is that next best great wide receiver out of Georgia State. So
as long as he is healthy, but
as long as he's healthy. So I think it's going to be a battle on the line, and we're both going to force each other to throw the ball, and the best team that can catch the ball is probably going to be the winner of this game. I think, at least.
I don't hate that idea, and if it does go that direction, I mean, I've just looking at some box scores and kind of scanning what your quarterback's been able to do, it seems like that's been an issue to an extent. I mean, did you have a game where it was the Charlotte game that Granger completed just 6 passes the entire game, and then I think they're both right at 50% completion for the year, and was it 475 passing in 4 games? Is that right? Is that close?
So Granger didn't come in until the Charlotte game. Oh, sorry, he played in the previous game. He didn't start until the Charlotte game. So I think stats are all a little skewed, a little weird when it comes to Granger. But you're right; he's only gotten 50% of his passes.
Awesome.
Yeah, and Granger's still getting familiar with playing football again.
No, what are you talking about? He played for years in the other school.
It's been 2 years. It's been 2 years since he started a game, and even then he only played 4. So I mean, now I'm defending my own team against the guy that's on the podcast with me. What the hell, God?
Come on, because I'm not a homer here. You can go look at the stats and you can go look at how he plays. He's not great. He can get the job done, but he's not great.
Yeah, no. All right, guys. You guys can go on mute for a minute while Ryan and I argue with each other. No, I don't disagree with you, Ryan. But what I'm saying is we still don't know what Granger is. Granger beat Charlotte 20-9. Granger.
The whole team did that.
Granger led a team 29 versus Charlotte. Granger
I'll leave
led
it
a
alone.
team to nearly a victory over Auburn. We'll see what's going on. Yeah.
So I'm curious, why? What's up with Quad? Why is Granger in the mix?
Well, Granger is okay, and Quad was moderately worse. So he just kept overthrowing everything. Just like literally every ball he threw was overthrown for the first two games.
Yeah, John Weaver popping in right now, saying, "Yeah, we still don't know what Quad is this year." To be fair, Quad, we had high aspirations. I had the highest of aspirations for Quad this year, and we still don't know what's going on with him. He took being benched like a man, as Coach Elliott said. We don't know what's going on there. I think it's more of a mental thing, and Granger's already got the start. We know that already. For this game, you may see Quad this season or this game. We don't know. We don't know what's going on with Quad because he looked fantastic last year.
You lose the first two games, and then you put in Granger, and he wins against Charlotte, so it's the first win of the season. And then we put a healthy scare into Auburn under Granger, and so there's no good reason to change back out.
I feel like this interview's gone the wrong way. I feel like we're defending ourselves instead of asking these guys questions.
I have an unrelated question.
I apologize for asking a question.
You're fine. You're fine. I feel like so. I mean, I'm gonna come on tomorrow.
It's all good.
I feel like this is
my cheat sheet here. Like, I'm coming on tomorrow to talk to you guys on your podcast, and now I'm getting at the cheat sheet what I got to know to talk about. And
yeah, you will.
I do have another question to change gears. I don't know how long we wanted to go, but I thought of something. Am I good? Do we have time?
I'm in charge. You go.
Let's go.
All right, cool. So our big, we always talk through the off season, through every single episode. Doesn't really matter. We're going to talk about realignment. And so with the way that everything has been, coming down, where Big 12 sucked up pretty much anyone good in the AAC that you'd want to really play against, and with the Sun Belt talking about picking up some pretty good teams, where do you guys feel about where App State should be?
We're going to be on two opposite ends here. I'm afraid.
All right.
So you guys fit right along with Ryan and I.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I think we want what's best for App State. Charles, you go ahead. I don't know if
it depends on what you
agree
think that means.
Yeah, we agree on that. And Mike Oresco aside, he's going to say what he wants to say because that's what he is good at. It's just talking. He feels like what he has to do for his conference is replace what he lost. He may or may not feel that one of our schools is a fit there, but it doesn't seem to be that way right now. Who knows? We'll see. It could just all be fluff. For one, we have a lot of fans who think that we have to be tied with Georgia Southern if we go to another conference, and that's just not the case. We don't want nothing to do with them. We don't care. But from our standpoint, we would love to be in a conference with Marshall. We don't want to go to Conference USA. I think that's pretty much fair.
I think we all agree there.
Yeah, we would, on a second hand, if this is possible, would not hate being in a conference with East Carolina.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of AAC things that have to be worked out. There's it's more than just a football driver, in my opinion. They've got to consider all the sports. Icing on the cake would be to be in a conference with ECU and Marshall. Those are our 70s, 1970s, 1980s rivals that really get us back aligned to that time frame. So basically, we've caught back up. If the consolation prize is to stay in the Sun Belt and a Marshall joins, I'm curious what that does from a long range viewpoint because you're going from 10 to 12. Is something like a Marshall and another school going to really take us up and say, hey, well, we're certainly the G5 conference to be in, we're such an East Coast slant here. We don't think about the Mountain West. The Mountain West would probably have something to say about that, but I just don't know if that puts us over the top. I don't know if that the way people think about the Sun Belt will change just because we added two teams and we had some teams ranked for a year or two. That long-term success has to be built, for decades, not like a couple years. no offense to Georgia State, I think we are completely different universities. I don't have a problem being in conference with you because you're right down the street. Obviously, that's a big deal. But we don't want to be in a conference where we're far flung with teams that we do not have any type of history with, and we're just not in a position to fly to Denver. We already hate going to Texas as it is, right, guys? I mean, why are we trying to go to Colorado, or why are we trying to go?
I'll speak up. I'll speak up for Tim, who is not here. Tim calls Texas State my second favorite team in the Sun Belt. I don't know why exactly, but he thinks it is. And I mean, I have a buddy that went to school there, so I have a little bit of affinity towards them. Plus, Georgia State, Texas State. Like I like state names, state schools.
You like bad football schools?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I like a lot of bad teams. So
no, and just to add what Charles said, I didn't disagree with anything Charles just said. You know, one of our listeners in our Facebook group that we have said something that I think just pretty much nails down how I see this. And I think pretty much everybody sees it, but they haven't framed it in this way, which is, you know, if somebody asks you to go on a road trip or go to a party or go to some function, wouldn't you want to know, like, who's going? You know, like, well, who's going? You know? And I think when it comes to conference realignment, I know, and Charles knows who I'm talking about, we know people that are like, if we don't go to the American, it's a failure, and we have failed in American or bust, and anything else is the worst in the world. And I'm not on that train. I'm not American or bust. I'm who's going and how's it going to work? Because I would love, Charles and I talk about this, I would love to be in a conference with East Carolina. I think it would be a huge deal for us. We haven't played we've played East Carolina before this year 2 times in 40 years, 2 times in 40 years. And that game in Charlotte, the tension, and it's almost like, you know, East Coast, you know, flatlands, hotlands of friggin' North Carolina in the middle of nowhere, and then the mountains just coming together.
It's like
and
Tupac versus Dre.
100%. That's
it
exactly
really is.
what I mean.
It really is that. I mean, we're 2 different type of fan bases, and that's why we disagree with each other so much.
Yeah, and then Charles is also right about, like, Marshall. People don't understand the weight that 2 of these like our fan base in Marshall, we travel. We go to each other's, like, Marshall showed up with more people for that Thursday night out of conference game than Georgia Southern has brought in years for a Thursday night game. Okay. And I know that's another shot at them. But I want what's best for App State. And I think that the reports of the American wanting to go west, I think that is probably true. And
yeah.
No,
well, and to be fair, Georgia Southern's EBT cards don't pay for gas to get to Boone, so
fair. Okay, fair. But no, so I don't think if Oresco gets what he wants, I don't think App's in the picture. But I think, oddly enough, I think the Sun Belt's in a unique position to be able to add a couple of combo setups where you could have an engaged matchup. You know, adding Marshall and James Madison's thrown out there. A lot of our fans don't want James Madison. I think that's a school we already hate. It's like built-in, like, hatred, which is good.
Absolutely hate them.
Hate them.
Also, I'm not a fan of the color purple, so I'm just kind of already out.
Absolutely despise purple.
They throw streamers in the air, and it's terrible. But we'll see what happens. I actually think that I'm like 50-50 that the Sun Belt will add somebody. I think Arlington and who's the other one? Little Rock. Yeah. I think they'll leave.
They're gone.
I thought that was already even talked about in official channels at this point.
I think it's just a matter of time. It's just this is probably their last year as a basketball school.
Yeah.
Well, finally we have no I was about to say finally we have no challengers as far as winning basketball tournaments, and then I'm like
talk to the wrong guys.
I'm talking to the guys that won the tournament this
We're from
season.
a basketball state, man. We're from North Carolina. This is like basketball country, and we finally won a conference tournament for the first time in 21 years, which is great.
You know what? We don't need to talk about that whatsoever at all.
I think that the way that all the cards are falling, there is a really good shot that the AAC goes the way of CUSA, and that Sun Belt does what it's doing and just keeps on kind of its upward trajectory. And that's not a bad place to be, even if you don't necessarily feel like you fit in, like us. So,
Yeah.
I feel really good about the Sun Belt right now. I don't know why.
Right.
It feels like the right place.
I have made no bones about it whatsoever at all. I absolutely hate being in this conference, but I have. An American conference is where I wanted us to be. I thought that's where we belonged, but not because of not because of a wins and loss. Ryan, can I talk? Can I talk here? Can I talk here?
I'm just saying.
Can I talk? Can I talk? No, it was all about just the profile of the university, and I don't think anybody in the Sun Belt can disagree that Georgia State, from a non-sports, university standpoint, looks more like an American conference university, being in the middle of an urban environment and being that R1 research university, that type of thing. We don't have the success. We don't have the success that those schools have, no doubt about it whatsoever at all. But that's where we felt that we belonged as far as peer universities. Now that being said, as of last week's episode, I have done a complete about face and said, kind of like what you said, Charles, we got to find where the dominoes lay, and we need to do what's best for our facility, our program, and right now that's staying in Sun Belt, and that's staying here, and we could very, very, very well, after everything shakes out, be the P6 claiming conference. So
my question to anyone, is how far does a university profile take you when all of these decisions appear to be being made because of money and football? SEC, Texas, and Oklahoma, historically, say what you want about Texas. There's a reason the schools that are going to the Big 12 from the AAC are going is because of football. I doubt they're saying, what we need? We need, some school to match up with West Virginia, and it needs to be in there. I don't think those conversations are being had.
Right. I agree.
I think it all depends upon where university chancellor, president, trustee may be at a certain time in a given situation and scenario. I just don't wonder what that does. At some point, you want somebody to watch you on TV, right? I mean, if that's the idea, then you want to watch somebody who provides a good product. And no offense to you guys, but that's the product. Texas and Oklahoma are product. UCF, Cincinnati are products that became things. I believe if we're looking at the athletic point of view, that App State's certainly a product.
Oh, for sure. No, there's no doubt about that. I can never make a legitimate argument about. Well, I mean, I can make a lot of illegitimate arguments about a lot of things, but I could never make a legitimate argument that App State is not a phenomenal football brand whatsoever at all. But I will say that blue and white is way better colors than black and gold.
Oh, it's so subjective.
I like the black and gold too.
See,
no, black and gold is way too close to Saints colors, and I absolutely hate the Saints. Like, it's my fandom is Georgia State, whoever's playing Southern, and whoever's playing the Saints, and then the Falcons come in below that. So
the Saints are definitely toward the old gold. We used to have the old gold, but we've kind of trended toward more of a yellower gold.
All right.
I wanted to add that the realignment is a discussion between I think they value eyeballs, like current eyeballs, which I think App State actually brings quite a number of, and that's why you guys might be sexy to somebody like the AAC. But then there's also potential eyeballs, and potential eyeballs are what CUSA went real heavy into and failed.
And it never showed up.
I think it's pretty clear that they failed.
I've got a question for you guys. Ryan, I'm gonna give a rare yay to you. I've got a question for you guys. Outside of that Michigan win, why do you guys think that App State has gotten such a huge national following? Because I feel like you guys really do. I think that a lot of people across the entire country really kind of follow App State. Is it that Michigan win? Is it just that continued success at FCS? What is it that made you guys get that kind of attention across the board?
I'll go ahead real quick, AJ, but you know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, well, I'll try to keep it simple. I think honestly, David, I think it's a perfect storm of things happening at the right time. App State has had a really, really strong tradition of football and being good at football that preceded Jerry Moore coming in 1989. And through the 90s, there were some legitimately great App State teams in the 90s that I think would compete really, really highly today, even like in the Sun Belt, because everything was more condensed back then. There weren't as many teams. There weren't as many. Anyway, I'll continue. So then in 2004, here comes Chancellor Peacock. He opens up the tailgate lots in 2005, and fandom kind of blossoms in 2005, and more alumni come back and tailgate. Charles is part of this, and so we win a national championship, and then there's this buzz, and then it really like became an avalanche of enthusiasm and hype among our alumni, among our fans, among that of our part of the state. We beat Michigan, and then it explodes, and there was already a foundation of a groundswell of tailgating and embracing App State and game day and whatever that had been laid before the Michigan game, and then it just piles on top of each other, and then the tradition and the culture that Coach Moore built. I just think things happen in waves for App State that teams can't. You can have $1 billion right now and you couldn't replicate what App State has done, because it's something that comes with time and experiences that you can't pay for, right?
Right.
It takes time. So that's what I'll say. There were a lot of things that have happened over time that the Michigan win exploded through the ceiling, but there were things in place that allowed us to carry it and sustain it. I don't know what Charles is going to say. Probably something.
I'll just
different.
say something very similar to that. I mean, we've had a great football program for almost 100 years.
Yeah,
we've had 100 years worth of moments in the last 15, and that's. I mean, it's been insanity.
Yeah,
the Sun Belt titles, the national championships, and all the bowl wins. I mean,
yep.
There it is right there, and then you have the comments from the coaches that we play. These P5 guys, Butch Jones, Tennessee, James Franklin, highly respected at Penn State, and then you look at Manny Diaz at Miami. He was interviewed by the television broadcaster right after the game, right after the handshakes of the coaches. They asked him a question, and the first thing out of his mouth was, "Well, this is what App State does. This is what they do," and he looked terrified, like he just robbed something, And
he's got a great haircut too.
What did James Franklin say? He says, "I don't, old fashioned. I don't know what's in the water in Boone, but whatever it is, it works. This is what they do. They scare people. They drive you crazy." And what did Mac Brown say before we played North Carolina in 2019? 2 years ago, I was fundraising for these guys, and now I'm the coach against North Carolina. I got to play them. What idiot set that up? And it was his boss. So here we are, and obviously Will Muschamp's not the coach at South Carolina anymore, because we were the team that clinched him out of what could have saved his job for another year, because we eliminated them from bowl contention. They had to beat us and Texas A&M, and they couldn't even beat us.
Yep.
So here we are.
So what is like just life like in Boone for an App State fan, like, or an App State student? Like, what is it like over there? Because like obviously we have a completely different environment. Being downtown Atlanta, we've grown. We have a lot of people living on campus now, but we still have a lot of people that drive in, students that drive in, commute into. What's it like over there? Like, you guys have like a, I don't even know what question I'm asking right now. What's it like going to school at Boone?
We're
over an hour now, and I said we're going to do 20-30 minutes. We're over an hour, so now I'm just gonna keep on asking questions until like one of you guys just say, "I gotta go to bed."
My phone's getting ready to die, so I might just bail out on you anyway. So.
That's it. We're gonna go until Alex's phone dies. That's gonna be the end of this whole thing.
I just texted you guys. I ran out of beer, so.
Oh.
Yeah, I could reach back here, but I haven't yet. I think it all just comes down to you got to experience it yourself. It's one thing to say, "Hey, look, Saturdays and game days are cool because people tailgate over every inch of grass that is available, and everybody lives on top of each other, and you've got a very unique downtown and a tight community. It's not a big town. There's 20,000 residents here, and there's 20,000 students. So we have to coexist, and we do. and we still have people who come off the mountain and drive in from Charlotte and Winston-Salem.
Do you guys have a ski team?
No, but you can take skiing for course credit in the winter. That's a PE here.
Wow.
And it's been a PE here for like 50 or 60 years. I mean, it's like everyone. If you'd be hard pressed to find someone who went to App.
I will take.
Them, like,
I will
take
App
snowboarding
State
or
seriously
skiing?
when they have a ski team. Until App State's a ski team, they are going to be bottom rung university to me. I want a ski team out of App State.
This is just bitterness talking. I just
Absolutely.
Take some deep
it's more
breaths.
drunkenness talking than it is anything else at all. But yeah.
We say this all the time, and I get a little frustrated because I wish there's a better way to describe this, but you really don't know what it's like to be part of App State fandom. And we have a lot, by the way, of fans that are even like financial supporters of our show that are in our Facebook group and that did not go to App State, don't have a diploma, that are huge fans. So I don't want to discount them at all. And I have so much respect for people that just pull for App State because they love App State. But even in those circles, unless you're part of it and you have like interest and like you're sold up for App State, you don't understand like what it's like. Charles just kind of built it up. Boone's a town of 20,000 people. It's a mountain town. It's not like there's tons of room from expansion or you're gonna have to blow a mountain. You have to, use dynamite and like flatten a mountain to expand or whatever. It's so unique. It's this old town that has this perennial, top 30 football program in the country. And once you're part of it on game day, talking with other fans in the stands, talking to the coaches, and once you're part of it, man, you get it. I wish there was a way to just quickly like download to somebody like, here's what it's like. Here's what it's like to be an App fan. Here's the experiences that you get. It's really unique, man. And that's I think our secret sauce is that it is unique. It's not something that can be replicated. And how many other top 25 programs? I mean, seriously, how many top 25 programs are located in a town with 20,000 people? Residents, not talking about students. Or let's do this. How many top 25 programs have come from towns, including the students, have 40,000 people or less? It's just a weird thing that's happened where culture and fans have kind of willed this to happen. I've said this on the show a lot. Without App State fandom kind of willing, raising the bar and wanting the team to do well in the support, I don't think it happens. And so it's great. There's a really great video if you want, like, to get kind of a taste. There's a video called "Something in the Mountain." What's it called, Charles? It's called "Something in These Mountains," I think.
Yeah.
I thought it was something called "Hot, Hot, Hot."
First of all, that's my ringtone, and it's the best song ever written.
And there's no such thing as bad publicity because that thing came out 17 years ago and people are still talking about it.
It's my ringtone. I hear it every day. Anyway, but it's called "Something in These Mountains" or "Something About These Mountains." It won the Hype Video of the Year award for the whatever.
I got ripped apart on the Sunbelt message board about this. Because there's this one video of the dude coming out of the water with like his helmet on, and I'm like, oh, that video is really cool, but that the guy coming out of the water with that helmet, it's kind of weird.
It's kind of it's a little. It's
kind of weird.
But there's this one that I think does a pretty good job of like capturing it a little bit, but you still can't, man. It's a mountain town. College students are able to, for 4 or 5 or 6 years, live in a place where people spend a lot of money to live there as their second home. Yeah. And it's a cool place, man. And I don't live in Boone, by the way. I wish I lived in Boone, but I live about an hour away. So,
well, I think we'll conclude this commercial for Boone and Appalachian State. This 1 hour and 9 minute commercial for Boone and Appalachian State. Ryan, unless you got anything else, I'm going to kick these guys off.
I'm good.
All right. Alex, Charles, thank you so much.
Appreciate it, boys.
Condolences to you, Alex. Charles, I hope you enjoy your baby shower and hope you pick the right diaper or whatever game you play at that thing. So we'll be down there.
Diapers and I'm going to drop them off.
All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Ryan. Thanks.
We will definitely talk to you guys maybe we do something after the game. We talk after the game. Maybe so.
Sure.
If not, we'll talk to you guys next year. So
all right, thanks, David.
Always a pleasure.
for
See you guys.
sure,
Alright,
for sure,
Yeah.
for sure.